Hi, I am Portia Richardson, and I am a child care provider. With this job, it requires you to have a lot of patience, show kids a lot of love, and listen to a child that is sad. When a child is sad, one thing you need to do is to get down and talk to them eye to eye and listen to what they have to say. And once you do that, the child will change what they mean to do. One thing about a child care provider also is that when a child comes to you, they have no knowledge of anything. That's when you may start singing the little ABC songs or the Twinkle Twinkle Little Star songs. And that's a learning tool. And what you do is you reach out to the child, and when the child starts to relate to you and try to sing, it brings a joy to you. Another thing about being a child care provider is that you teach a child something to do, especially a child that is not potty trained. That's one of the things as a teacher that we should be not required to do, but want to do. And when a child does that, you get excited for them. I shouldn't say everyone gets excited. I get excited and do a little happy dance for the child. That's one thing about being a child care provider. Another thing, what if you're dealing with an infant? Yes, you have to teach this child too. You have to feed the child, and that should be done with a lot of love as well. And I have learned a lot being a child care provider. I have worked with various ages. I have even had to do after school. And one thing about working with after school, you have to help a child with homework. And that should be something that you also want to do as a child care provider. One thing I have learned with the math program is that we need to also remember that as a teacher, we need a lesson plan. And that's what we do as a child care provider too, is we have a lesson plan. And this is what we're going to teach the children day by day. And it really makes a difference when you have something to look forward to looking at, because you don't want a child to be confused. And if you do something daily with this child, the child will get used to you doing these things. Okay, when I worked at this wonderful school, Winger Park, I was a teacher assistant. And what I did was assist the teacher. And that was something that I had to also look at the lesson plan. She would have it put out, and then the kids would sit down and they would learn. And I would sit with them, because when you're a teacher, you should want to be like the child, to sit with them. And I'll sit down on the floor with them, and they might want to get in my lap, which was okay too. But it's just something that they say, okay, she's really feeling what I'm feeling, so that was good. And I remember at this school, the 4th and the 5th grade, they have something they call Chromebooks. And at this school, Winger Park, this is one of the things they have done with the kids, is give them Chromebooks. You ask them what they have learned. They have been able to go on the internet, and still when we were growing up, we had to do encyclopedias. They have been able to go on the internet on their Chromebooks, and this has helped these students at this school gain a lot of knowledge, and their grades have gone up. And it's so sad in our system now that, I'm not sure about this school, but in other schools, they were saying that the reading and the math levels are low. One day I want to be a counselor. With me being a counselor, I want to be able to go to each classroom to look at the teacher's records to see what child is struggling. And maybe that child is struggling in math, or maybe that child is struggling in reading. I want to be able to assist that child. I want to get out of my office and walk and help each child. Maybe I have to sit down and read to them. Maybe I have to sit down and attempt to try to help them with math, because that is one of my weaknesses. But either way, maybe between me, the teacher, and the parent, that we can reach these children. With the IEP meetings, which is the Individual Education Plan meetings, I want the teachers to reach out to the parents before the meeting is scheduled, to get to talk to them on the phone to see if they understand what they're saying on the phone. If the parent does not understand, it should be noted, and that it would mean an interpreter needs to be in this meeting, because you want the parents to understand what they are signing for their children. You don't want the meeting to go forward and the parents are confused, I guess wiggling their fingers, or no, I'm not sure. So with the interpreter will be there so the parents can understand everything that they want for the child. At this meeting, it should be the parent has say-so. The parents had a final say. Yes, you have other people in the meeting, the principal, the special education education teacher, you have all of these, but the parent is very involved. And with this meeting, what they'll do is just set up goals for a child. They give them 3 months, they'll give them 6 months, and after the 3 months, if the child have not reached this goal, then they will continue in the same goal. That's how important these IEP meetings are. And at the end of the year, they need to look over to make sure that the child has reached it, so when they're promoted to the next grade, that they will be okay. Yes, in special education, you still get promoted.